my father considered me to be a functional illiterate, and so when I was about 12, I was much more interested in baseball and stuff like that, and so he gave me a copy of Jack London, okay, Call of the Wild. And he said, if you'll read this, I'll pay you $5. And that was the beginning for me. I read Jack London, and I went, whoa, wow. You know, people say shit in books that's pretty interesting. And then I caught the bug. And years later, in New York City, when I was in my 20s and driving a cab, I used to go to poetry readings. I used to hear Dylan read and the guys from that period, Phil Oakes and at the coffee houses, and I would read my poetry there. And I started there and didn't really take it seriously until I returned to Los Angeles. But the beginning was the beginning of my rediscovery of literature came with the Beats, came with in that period, and Bukowski was just getting his chops together, you know, in the mid and late '60s. I wrote a poem a day for probably 3 years, and threw every one of them away. I would write during the day while I was driving, and if it didn't come up to my literary standards by the end of and I would read it, and it would usually piss me off, and I'd just wad up, throw it away. But some of them I managed to save, I don't know, maybe 100 poems, and then after I wrote Chump Change, I wrote a play that was very successful in Los Angeles called The Boiler Room, about telemarketing. And so I needed something, I'm sure you understand this, the characters in a novel can live and haunt you for months, and it really can be, after a while, it can be a bit tedious. So when I'd finish a novel, I would do something else. So I would alternate. And so then plays got written and poetry books and short stories got written rather than write another novel. But I was compelled to write. I just didn't want the investment of a year. Sometimes a novel will take me anywhere from 6 or 8 months to 2 years to write. This mystery novel, Point Doom, I just finished, took me, the whole process was 2 years. Really annoyed me. It was too long. But the characters live in your consciousness, so I needed the option of doing something else as an artist. You know, I consider myself very fortunate that I put together a body of work that was not done out of capitalist motives, but done because I loved writing, you know. Till this last novel, and I finally said, well, I've read all I spent 2 years reading God knows how many detective novels and mystery novels, and I said, well, I can write that shit, So I sat down and I wrote something that I think is really good. So why not have it? Why not rise to a challenge? I've written the books I wanted to write. That memoir and all my Bruno novels, and then my poetry, and then I've got a couple of plays that have never been produced, but I've written the things, I've done what I wanted to do. Thank you, God. So now I can just kind of vamp and while and my passion for it is undiminished. I love to write. So it's not pain for me. I mean, you sit in class with these poor people that are so imbued with all this snot they've read and they've learned, and these teachers who have talked theory to them, but in practical application is when writers really begin to see who they are. And when you see somebody who's got a master's degree in English lit, and he's finally writing something that he can be proud of, it's just a whole different, you see an awakening there. It's a wonderful experience. Wonderful. So.